are we concerned about minutes? Gary Trent was over 40. The guys were in the high 30s.
Yeah.
Are we going to be
Yeah.
concerned about Freddie at a certain point?
You might be, John, but I had a great chat with an NBA coach at the Summer League in Vegas this year, and he was kind of laughing about what he calls the minutes police. Right? Everybody's watching the minutes. Now, mind you, we're 4 games in, so the minutes police need to put their ticket pads away for a bit before they start writing tickets and handing them out. But he said, Jonesy, you got to take care of winning. And I said, well, of course. He said, no, think about this. He said, you're in a 1-point game, 7 minutes to go, and your best player has already played 30 minutes. What do? He said, if you sit that guy down and you lose, you're a dummy, because what do you do? Why isn't this guy in the game? He said, and then you play the guy for 5 or 6 of the 7 minutes. You steal a break at a timeout or something like that, and you win the game, and the minutes police come out with their tickets and start saying, look at the minutes. So to me, it's early in the season. The bench has to show some trust, show some play, so Nick can trust them. And I think you take care of winning. I know last year people were pointing to the minutes and the way some guys broke down. I get that, but that's on the bench to play well enough so those guys can be rested. And 2, if the coach isn't playing those guys at key times, regardless of the minutes, they're not getting the wins and they're not in a position to be where they are. So it's a concern, John. It is. It's something that you want to monitor, but at the same time, we joke. It's like the coach saving the timeout. Why? You're down 10 in the first quarter. Take a timeout. No. I'm saving it for the end of the game. Well, that timeout's going to do you a lot of good when you're down 25 in the fourth quarter. And it's to me, it's the same kind of thing. Like sometimes the minutes add up, and your bench isn't giving you everything you need. You just kind of roll with it and worry about it later. As this coach says, take care of winning.
I think it's different in today's NBA. Number one, I go back to talking to Hubie Brown, the great Hubie Brown, who said, Matt, you know what changed the league? This is 20 some odd years ago. He said the fax machine, right? He said, because I used to get a phone call prior to the start of a game with the scouting report, and they just kind of verbally tell you. This is back in the 80s. And then all of a sudden it's a fax machine where they're actually sending all the diagram plays that the other team's running. Well, now every game is scouted to the point where you're watching video, the compilation, everything. It is regular season is being scouted the way postseason used to be scouted. And winning is hard on a nightly basis. And not only that, but when you have players that want to achieve individual goals, like Pascal being all NBA again, Fred VanVleet being an all-star, as Nick Nurse says, you have to win in order to receive those accolades. And the way to do that is to play your best players, to win games, and then ultimately they're going to put up those numbers. And then I think there's a new element here in analyzing this, because I've had a lot of time to think about everybody's concern about minutes. But we mentioned this earlier, the days of playing 82 games it's just not realistic. And so I think if you're a coach, it's a tough spot to be in, right? You're trying to win a game, and you know that the chances of your starting 5 playing 75 games together is probably, it's not happening, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, do you think the Raptors will have a player that'll play all 82?
Well, I think the last one to do it was Scotty last year. Well, last year, Chris played 80 of the 82, and then Scotty was close. Yeah. But to me, it's all about can you play 72 plus and that sort of thing? It's just more and more difficult today. But Bismack, I remember one year he played the 82 and he was, forget the year, but he was one of only 18 players in the league that did that. So
Wow.
anyway, the point of that is to say that I think coaches are in a really tough spot because
Yeah.
that you're not going to have a player, right? I mean, OG Anunoby played 48 games last year. The most games that he's ever played was as a rookie when he played 74. And when he was on the court last year, the Raptors were 31-17. We know he's a difference maker defensively, guard multiple positions, and he can also shoot the three. And the combination of those things and having him out there, is certainly impactful. And the numbers speak to that. But the track record said, okay, can he get to 65 this year? Can he get to 70 games this year? And if that's the case, then that's going to be a really good thing. But if you're a coach, you're living in the moment. And I don't think that to Jonesy's point, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, living in the moment. And I think that you'll see, first of all, Raptors don't have Otto Porter yet. He's been injury prone over the last 4 years. If you look at his numbers, last year he played 63 games. Can he play 60 this year? That would be beneficial. Malachi Flynn got some spot duty the last couple of games. I thought he played well. Why? Because he knocked down the 3 ball. So that's important. Boucher coming back is huge for the Toronto Raptors. We saw that impact last night. So, you're starting to see some of that once you have those players return. But I would not be concerned about the minutes. Think about this. Despite that back-to-back, you have an off day today, you play tomorrow, off day on Thursday, off day, you'll practice, therapy, all that. Play Friday, then Saturday, Sunday, no games, then a game on a Monday. So it's also managing what you're doing away from the court.